What would you say are your top three priorities for Oklahoma 4? Like what first big bill would you push, and what are your top three priorities?
So this is not super sexy, but my number one priority is the one that is a prerequisite to the other priorities. And what it says on my website and my walk card, it says restore constitutional balance. And what I mean by that is the we're supposed to have, in accordance with the Constitution, we're supposed to have three co-equal branches of government with real checks and balances over one another, and no one branch is supposed to become all powerful. And over the last really 30 years, that has been shifting towards a very powerful presidency. And under President Trump, it has what we can see is how dangerous that can be. So when I say restore constitutional balance, what I'm talking about is not only shrinking that back down to size and getting Congress back in the business of doing oversight and doing its constitutional duty, and the Supreme Court doing its part without being corrupt. And we can talk about Supreme Court corruption later. But I'm also talking about, and this is where the part about what am I going to do comes in. The Congress that I am going to be a part of has a really important mission to build new safeguards that didn't exist before to stop this from ever happening again. Because, when we watch Schoolhouse Rock, we got the impression that this is just how it works and this is the system. And if when I get to Congress, I can say, we're going to follow the system. Well, it turns out that a lot of what made it work and how the system worked for so long was really based on gentlemen's agreements and tradition. It wasn't baked into legislation or something that was enforceable. So we, as a new Congress, are going to have to invent some things to stop this from happening again, because this much power in any hands, if Kamala Harris were president right now and wielding this outsized power, I would be against that as well. In the hands of the wrong person, we can see how calamitous it can become. So that's number one. And I say it's not sexy because it's hard to tie that to a specific personal outcome for someone in CD4 or anywhere in the country. But here's why this is so important. My next priority on my walk card is labeled Empower American Families, and that includes everything from universal health care to raising minimum wage to removing the tariffs that are weighing us down, and a bunch of economic and tax reforms to make it possible for every American to flourish and rebuild the middle class that's essentially gone. That's a really important topic, and that is sexy, right? That does touch on people's direct feelings.
It does.
But the reason I list that second is if we don't do that first one, the second one can't happen. It is literally a prerequisite, because right now we have a government where it only works. The only people who get their way are people who show up to Washington, D.C. with a suitcase full of cash or a crypto wallet to hand off to an administration official, and they get what they want. So we have to fix the broken system, and then allow us to have a legitimate path to empowering American families. Number three is focus on national defense. You may think that because I'm a military guy, I'm going to be here advocating for a bigger military budget. That's actually not true. I think our budget, what they've asked for, is insane. $1.5 trillion is far too much money. The DoD doesn't. What we need to do is right size that, pick our battles, literally, and spend money investing in the Department of State, whose job it is to make sure that we build our partnerships around the world, decrease the chance of conflict, and cooperate internationally. And you only asked me for three, but I'm going to give you number four because this one really hits close to home for me. Number four is about dignity and respect. Every person in our country, no matter how they got here, who they love, what they look like, what their socioeconomic status is, whether or not they're religious or what their religion is, every one of them has inherent dignity and worth and needs to be treated like a human being. They deserve due process of law. And if we fail to do that, I don't care how rich we are or how strong our military is, we are failing as the American experiment is failing if we have marginalized communities that are being crushed by the wealthy and powerful interests that seem to dominate today.